Yes guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to episode number 28 of our EAFC 26 Career Mode here with, for the first time of this series, here with Brentford in the Premier League. And after that big, heavy defeat against Manchester City on the opening day of the season, we do jump straight into the first game of this episode, and we are at home, the first home game of our tenure here at Brentford, and it is against another big side with some really decent players in Newcastle United. So hopefully we can bounce back from that defeat to Manchester City. Obviously we mentioned at the end of the last episode about how we weren't too pleased with the performance, with the tactics, with the formation, but we have kept things the same. We said obviously it was against a big giant team in Manchester City, so we didn't want to jump the gun and change straight away. And obviously the next couple of matches in this episode and over the league season, we'll see how we will take this team forward. And we did get a decent chance early on, but unfortunately a good save from the Newcastle goalkeeper, which is actually former Manchester City goalkeeper Ederson in between the sticks for Newcastle. But it was Newcastle who took the lead, and it is another one of their players who they have brought in Ademola Lookman, who does get the first goal inside 10 minutes to give Newcastle that 1-0 lead. And it was Newcastle who were really piling pressure. Like I said, they've got some really good players, to be fair, in this team. And it was Lookman once again who got a good chance, but this time Valdemirson, obviously we mentioned, or we saw at the end of the last episode, there was a training injury for Kelleher, so he was out for the next 3 or so weeks. So Valdemirson coming in between the sticks for us, but it is Lookman who gets his and Newcastle's second goal of the game and does give Newcastle that 2-0 lead. But it was our chance to come back in this one. Really good ball across by Tete. Vlahovic's effort saved by Ederson in the goal, but the rebound, Damsgaard was quickest to react, and he does manage to get his Brentford's first goal of the season and first goal of this game. Not first goal of the season, we did obviously get one in the last game, but we got a chance to get a second here. A really good tackle in the middle of the park from the new boy Sano. Plays it into Vlahovic. Obviously he is left footed, he does manage to get a ball onto his left foot and makes absolutely no danger of the finish to put that one past Ederson and bring the scores back to 2-2 with 30 minutes of this game gone. So now it was obviously just about building on this and hopefully not conceding too quickly. But straight from kick-off, Newcastle had an opportunity to get back into the lead. The ball falls to Curtis, plays into Joe Linton in the middle of the park, plays into the other midfielder Tonali, across to the third midfielder Guimaraes, plays it across, and it's another one of their new boys, Marcus Thuram. Ball goes over the top of Nathan Collins. Marcus Thuram on the full volley, really difficult technique, but makes no mistake with it, and it's his third goal of the season in just 2 games and does give Newcastle that lead back. But just before half time we got another chance. Damsgaard with a chance for his second, but unfortunately couldn't put his shot past Ederson in the Newcastle goal, and we did go into half time down in this one, but only 3-2. It could have been a lot worse based on how we started, so we were definitely looking to come back in this one. And Vlahovic had the first chance of the half, but unfortunately straight down the throat of Ederson to keep the scores as they were. And then just 5 minutes later, Vlahovic again this time plays in Tete. Tete plays it across, Atara gets there, but unfortunately his effort did just strike the top of the crossbar, and unfortunately we couldn't make any more of that. So we did decide to make a change, and it was Tete coming off for the young right wing of a 17-year-old from Jamaica. Daniels coming on into that right wing. Hopefully he can influence this game because he does look like a really good player on paper. Unfortunately, pretty much straight off that substitution, Ademola Lookman does get the hat-trick he has been looking for, and Newcastle do get that 2-goal deficit back in front, and they are 4-2 up in this game, with Ademola Lookman scoring 3 of those goals and Thuram obviously scoring the other one. But we weren't going to lie down. We got another opportunity, a really poor pass out from Joe Linton. The ball eventually finds its way to Vlahovic, but unfortunately again a poor shot from him, and Ederson manages to tip it around the post for a corner kick. And then from a resulting throw-in a little bit later on in the game, we do manage to make the break, and we were looking really good on the break in this game. Damsgaard plays the first time ball into Vlahovic. He gets a chance to get a goal for himself, but again unfortunately a really poor shot on that right foot of his, and Ederson once again makes the save to keep the scores at 4-2. Another couple of changes, Cardona and Janelt coming off for Coyote and Yarmouk, just to give a few players an opportunity to impress, see what everyone's looking like. Obviously I'm new around here, so we need to decide what our best team is, but unfortunately Newcastle did get a 5th in this one, and it is the big German striker Nick Woltemade who does get that goal. The ball just rebounded. Woltemade was quickest to react, similar to Damsgaard's goal in the first half, and Newcastle do get 5 goals in this one. So again, not looking brilliant defensively, especially on top of that Manchester City defeat. We're not looking in a brilliant place defensively, but hopefully, like I say, 2 big teams we played here, so hopefully that will improve going forward. And then just in the dying seconds of this game, in added time of this one, Once again, we do manage to get a break on. Atara breaks forward here, plays it inside to Damsgaard. Damsgaard tries to get the run of the player, but Botman doesn't bring Damsgaard down, but does make the foul. Damsgaard has a chance in the last minute to put this one away to get a third goal for us in this game, but unfortunately for us, once again, Edison was there to keep that one out, and that is how the game finished. Lookman picks up the match ball, and unfortunately it is a 5-2 defeat in our first home game of the season, and obviously we know defensively we definitely need to pick up our pace and perform better, or the fans, the ownership and everyone else will be on our backs. And we had an opportunity, a really good opportunity, to get a first win of the season back at home at the G-Tech Community Stadium in the EFL Cup against Colchester. A lot of changes, but still some first team players in there. Obviously we want to make sure we get a win. We don't want the embarrassment of losing this one against a team like Colchester. No disrespect to them, but we should definitely be beating them. And if you have followed this series from the start, you'll know when we started West Ham, our league form was horrendous, but we did manage to get through to the final of the EFL Cup. So obviously we want to make sure our league form is good, but obviously we want a cup run as well. But unfortunately it was actually Colchester who took a really surprising early lead, and it is Tovide who does get a goal. A really nice finish, to be fair, first time, slotting it under the goalkeeper in the back of the net, and does give Colchester a really early 10-minute 1-0 lead against the run of play, if we're being honest, and against the bookies' expectations. And it was for Edwards down his left-hand side who was causing us all sorts of problems, and they do get another chance here. It falls eventually to Tovide to try and get a second goal of the game, but luckily Eyestone, the American goalkeeper, was there to keep that one out the back of the net, and then it was all about us really. Damsgaard looks nailed on to score this one, but unfortunately puts a little bit too much power on it, rattles the crossbar, and Onyeka couldn't do anything with a follow-up header, so the scores do stay at 1-0. And then just a little bit of time later, the ball finds itself to Atara, looks to cut inside on his weaker right foot, and unfortunately you could tell that it was his weaker foot, and it does just whistle wide of the post to keep the scores at 1-0. And then Colchester, they still had opportunities. Payne had a good chance here with his left foot on the turn, difficult technique with that one. Unfortunately for us, it does fly wide of the post, and then we do get another chance ourselves. Atara again, once again down his left hand side, flicks the ball in, and it is the attacker who does get the header, but unfortunately couldn't keep it down, and it does go over the top of the crossbar. So 10 minutes before half time now, and it is with new boy Sano, gets a really good shot away there, but a good save from Macy in the Colchester goal to keep that one out. And then obviously we're looking from a resulting corner. Django Atara looking to swing this one in, decides to play it short into Damsgaard. Damsgaard flicks it in with his right foot, ball falls to Burkhart, really good header, but a really good reaction save from Macy in the Colchester goal to get down low and keep that one out. And then in the dying seconds of the first half, Damsgaard gets a shot from range, but unfortunately Macy was there once again to keep that one out. So we did go into half time with the unexpected 1-0 deficit in this one, and obviously we knew everything was played for in this second half, but luckily we did manage to get the equaliser fairly early on, and it is the captain for the day, Frank Onyeka, finds space in the middle of the park and does bury that one into the back of the net to bring the scores back level, and now we can really look to push on and try and win this game. But Colchester, obviously with us trying to push on and get the goals, Colchester were always going to get opportunities on the break and a good chance there, but fortunately for us the goalkeeper was there, Eyestone, once again to keep that one out. And then from a resulting corner, ball comes in, Onyeka wins the header, it falls to Payne, who's been a real threat all game for us. Luckily his shot is blocked and does go behind for another corner. It's Reed once again looking to play this one, plays it in, we get the defensive header, and it's Burkhardt who picks this ball up, plays it out to the youngster Daniels. Daniels can run forward here, you can see Burkhardt's got acres of space down this right hand side. Flanagan's trying to get back to him, but Burkhardt, absolutely no one stopping him, fires it past goalkeeper across his body, and does give us for the first time in this game a 2-1 lead. And it's Jonathan Burkhardt's first goal of the season, obviously competing with Vlahovic for that starting striker role, and that will do his chances absolutely no detriment at all. And we did manage to actually get a third. Frank Onyeka once again, his second goal of the game for the captain, and he buries that one past the goalkeeper to give us a 3-1 lead. And at this stage, with just 5 minutes left to go, we made some changes and we felt there was no chance that Colchester were going to come back, and we should have this victory in the bag at this stage with just a couple of minutes left to go. But Colchester was still going to get opportunities. It's Payne once again who gets the chance, a good shot this time with his right foot, but again whistles past the post, and the scores do stay at 3-1. So really good victory in the EFL Cup, and hopefully we can carry that momentum. We do change formation going into this game, matching that formation against Colchester. Onyeka starting after being the hero, unlikely hero, scoring 2 goals in that EFL Cup game. Valdemirson still starting in goal, obviously in the absence of Queven Kelleher, and this was an opportunity, although away from home, was an opportunity to try and get our first points on the board against an Aston Villa side who, although we're only 2 games in, were third in the table table, won both their games up to this stage, so we knew it was going to be difficult, but one that we could definitely take the momentum from the Colchester game and hopefully get something out of this game. But it was Villa who started better of the teams, probably on league form as expected, and they did get the first chances. Samu gets a good shot, but Valdemirson was there, good strong hands, and keeps that one out and away for a corner kick. And then just a couple minutes later, the ball finds Samu once again, a really good shot once again from him, but once again a really good outstretched hand from Valdemirson to keep that one behind for a corner kick. And it's the Belgian Yuri Tielemans looking to swing this one in. Watkins gets there with a header, and we manage to get the ball and try and break. And as I said a couple of games ago, our breaks are looking really good, and this looks where we could really damage teams. It plays the ball out Tete. Tete cuts inside the defender with a really nice piece of skill and a really composed finish, and we do take a 1-0 lead just 11 minutes into this game, and probably one that nobody was expecting us to get, and it is the Brazilian Matheus Tete who does give us that 1-0 lead. But Villa were always going to be threatening. It's Gisan who gets the ball here and it plays about Tielemans, but luckily for us, Stanisic was there with a big block to keep that one out. And then you can see the acres of space in the middle of the park coming towards the end of this first half when Yeka getting down, plays it out to Atara on this left-hand side, flicks it in, Vlahovic with a decent header, but from a difficult angle, couldn't quite target that one. And we do go into the break with that 1-0 lead. And obviously this second half was just all going to be about keeping that lead, but unfortunately it didn't last for too long. And the ex-Brentford attacker, Ollie Watkins, does fire that one in with his left foot, obviously in great form. 4 goals in just 3 games for him, and they do peg us back to 1-1. And we got another chance fairly sort of soon after that, the ball coming in, but a really good clearance in the end from Vega. Stanisic gets caught massively under the ball, it eventually finds its way to Samu, good shot from Samu, but once again Valdemirson was there to keep that one out, some strong hands to keep that one out, and once again it's Tielemans who's going to swing this one in towards Watkins, and what a header that is from Ollie Watkins. Right in that postage stamp in that top corner. Valdemirson with absolutely no chance. A man on the line couldn't even get to that one, and a really direct bullet header from Ollie Watkins gets his and Villa's second goal of this game to give them the lead for the first time in this game. But we weren't going to go lying down. Atara gets a really good chance, but unfortunately across his body just goes wide of the post, and then Villa get another chance just 10 minutes before the end here. Ball finds its way to Samu, and Samu, who'd been threatening us all game with a goal, he does manage to finally get on the score sheet and give Villa that 3-1 lead, which with only 10 minutes left to play was going to be a really difficult one to overcome. But we gave it our best shot. Tete down his right hand side, plays it into Vlahovic, and a really good finish from Vlahovic past Emi Martinez in the Villa goal, and we do cut that lead to just that 1 goal, and we do unfortunately end up losing that game 3-2. And we do get the confirmation that Sami Mbangula does return from his injury, still won't be available for a couple of games, but he is back from his injury, so that's good news. And then we did end up reaching deadline day, and there was one position, that central defence midfielder position, we still wanted to plug, and we wanted Premier League experience ultimately. And we did go to the Everton manager, David Moyes, and look to sign James Garner. But unfortunately, as we went into negotiations, we realised we weren't going to be able to afford him. We did throw a cheeky offer in within our affordability just to see if there was any chance of it. But unfortunately, Everton did reject that. And all the other targets we had, all the scouted players we had, were out of our price range, so no more business on deadline day, and this is the team we will go towards January with and hopefully build on it. But that's going to bring the episode to an end. As always, please like if you have made it this far, please comment down below any suggestions, or if you're enjoying this series, please subscribe to keep following the journey. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.